Kyle McGee is on the call. Kyle, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Perfect.
Give it a couple of more minutes since we got so many people here. Get in there. You know, under the Jewish religion, your prayers wouldn't count. You need at least 10.
Yeah, just let the speakers.
Need 10? 10. No. What's mandatory for us? Well, should put it that way. It's not. 2 more minutes.
Go.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd like to introduce the Board of Supervisors. I'm Bob Goldstein. I'm the chairman. Ken Walter is the vice chairman. Dave Francis, secretary. John Schmolligan, and Joe LeBrick. Brian Mendez is our district manager. Kyle is on the phone and he's our district counsel, and Anna Saunders is here representing the engineer. I'd like to call on Paul to do the
in the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which is stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Do we have public comments?
No sign-in sheets thus far. Any public comments? Come up to the podium. Yep.
It depends after our discussion. Maybe if you have an update, landscaping update, I'd like to wait and see. Then
Sure.
I guess I'm saying.
We need at least one to come and say hello and then we'll sit down.
Okay. Okay. Hey, buddy, what for you?
Need your name and address
Yes.
for the record.
Yeah.
Make sure to do it here.
I'm getting great spot, 3025 Way Drive. I'll hold if I have any comments after the little landscape update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thanks for coming up. Anybody else want to say hello? We're gonna move on.
Oh, there we go.
Drive.
We're close.
Oh, you're close. Well,
Hey.
I was curious, well, let me give some background first. I love the animals around here and the wildlife around here, and there's a lot of debris in the ponds, lots of it. And I was curious about adopt a spot program, and I understand that the county has something, keep of our beautiful or something like that. And I am just, I'm gonna explore that and see how to register to that to help clean the areas near the lakes, because the trash or debris that ends up in the lakes starts with us humans. and it gets in the grass or in the, and gets shredded up by the lawnmowers and gets in the ponds and April will get stuck on the beach and die because of it. Can't get it off because it's already beach. So I'm very interested in that. I was just curious if the CDD had any interface to that program at all. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Robert Allen, 6741 Ringgold. I too may have some questions when we're all done with the meeting and whatnot. At least there's 11 of us here now. I'm surprised this place ain't packed. Truly, we all live here. It's my first meeting, so thank you all. Hope to talk to you later.
Thank you for coming on. If that's it, we'll keep going on. The first one is monthly report by Supervisor Walker.
Thanks, Bob. Needless to say, we've been pretty busy the last couple of months. Can you hear me?
Get closer, real close.
How's that? Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So February came in full force with an extended winter freeze lasting a number of days, with wind chill temperatures reaching the low 20s. Unfortunately, we are now dealing with the fallout. As such, the winter freeze took its toll on many of our plants and trees. Most affected were the shrubs and the palm trees, now showing visible browning. It's hard to tell with the grass, since we are still in the middle of the grass dormant season. However, over the last couple of days, you can see it popping a lot better with all the fertilizer that's been put down over the past year. In any event, we can expect some of the plants to survive and others will probably perish. A number of e-blasts went out to the community from management concerning the winter freeze. Homeowners were informed to not prune any of the shrubs or trees, etc., as Juniper starts to assess the damage. Now, this was back in February. It will take time for the recovery to evolve. Many of our shrubs, including ixoras, trinettes, and other types of shrubs that have been stunned from the deep freeze. Additionally, oil palms, foxtails, and Christmas palms suffered severely. We won't know the full damage and effect until we get into mid-March, which is now, but more likely it's going to take months before we really know which ones are going to probably perish. Areas affected include, and I'm specifically talking about the common property now, the front gate, all those doors, and the trinettes pretty much are toast. The back gate, the same issue with the trinettes. Trinettes will probably withstand a hard prune. We don't have to pull them out. They'll probably rebound. But the ixoras are pretty much done. Part 1 phase, ixoras. Part 2, Part 3 has firebush problems, and Part 4 has firebush problems. Phase 5, we have ixoras that have perished. Phase 7, around the pond, we have ixoras and a foxtail palm that we need to keep an eye on. Around the circle of the clubhouse, we have 4 foxtail palms in here. We're just going to have to watch them. They don't look too great right now, but they could take 4 months, 5 months to see if they're going to survive. So that was the February picture. So moving on to the general landscaping piece in February, all general landscaping, including trimming and edging, continue to be delivered in conjunction with the phases. The hard freeze slightly affected the schedules. We had the phase 5 refresh, where we had some dead sod and some shrubs that had to come out. That was delayed due to the hard freeze, and now hopefully next week, Juniper's going to work on fixing that one and get that done. This was pre-approved by the board. The refresh at the corners of Galindo and Guerrero were scheduled for the 17th, 18th, and 19th of March, and they were done. Chris Drews came in and finished them in about 2.5 days. One of the things we found out doing that work, the irrigation in the ground here was garbage. There was a hodgepodge of pipes. The wiring was, I don't know what they did in there. It was just put together with banding wire and duct tape. So that had to all be redone. So Chris and his team went in there and fixed it. So you can have proper irrigation on that area in there. So where are we with the bullnoses? With that completion, we only have one major bullnose to finish, and that's at Bancroft. So I'm gonna ask the board for permission to not to exceed about 7,000 to finish that corner. The price that we'll be getting from Chris Drews for both corners has been like $5,000, which has been an excellent price. So if I can get the board's permission, I can work with Chris and have him come in and finish Bancroft.
Motion.
Want to make the motion now, finish your report?
We can make the motion now on this.
Go ahead.
I motion that we, have authority to complete the bullnose at Bancroft.
I'll second.
Joe, seconds, any discussion? Vote. Everybody?
So that,
Absolutely.
not to exceed 7,000 on that. Based on the Juniper inspection right after the freeze, we didn't have any pipe breaks. I would have expected probably if we had 4 or 5 days of that, it might have had a problem. But we didn't have any from the freezing. All of our irrigation is up and running. Moving on to our big project right now is, for most homeowners, they're familiar with the fact that we are in the process of overhauling the irrigation system here at Heritage Isle, which affects both the common property and the homeowner lots. We completed phase 3, which consisted of 150 or so homes in there, which have now been rewired with new controllers installed. So all the electrical components for phase 3 have been upgraded. So the next phase to get the upgrade is phase 1. So DVI, that's our vendor for the irrigation overhaul. They conducted an assessment in January of this year of the irrigation system in phase 1 and identified a major difference from phase 3. Yes, there's more homes. There's 227 homes in phase 1, which is about 50 more homes from phase 3, which is completed. However, in phase 1, all the irrigation boxes are located in the front of the yards. This poses a challenge, but not insurmountable. Unlike phase 3, where the valve boxes are located in the backyards, not in competition with other utilities in the ground, the front yard valve boxes will require a different approach. For phase 1, DVI has proposed to use conduit to protect the wires. The use of conduit also allows for easier wire replacement if needed in the future, and will require significantly less two-wire from option 2. The front yards have other utilities such as AT&T, Spectrum, Electric, City of Water, COCO, and sewage, further complicating the wire install. Moreover, the wire install will require boring under the driveways. Using conduit will protect the wiring, which is the preferred approach, especially with competing utilities in close proximity to the individual valve boxes and the wire paths. The CDD portion in phase 1 dwarfs in comparison to the homeowner lots, which is primarily the park in phase 1, and some additional junction boxes that would be required. There are some 25 valves and an estimated 1,200 feet of wire and conduit required. At this time, there is no need for any new controller for phase 1. There is currently 2 controllers in phase 1, but we're only going to need one of them, and one of them is fairly new. It was installed in 2023, and it is the most current model. It's the ACC2, which is the highest model you can get for these kind of controllers. So that will be able to cover the whole phase 1. The good thing for the CDD is that's one less controller we'll have to manage. So we're going to go from 2 to 1, even though there's more homes. They're designed to put modules on here to give you the extra space. Right, Chris? Okay.
What's the cost of the controller?
The cost for phase 1 for the homeowner lots is going to be $198,000. The CDD portion is $23,000 and some change. Now, there was some concern about the wiring and whether or not we had an alternative option. which we're calling option number 2. We asked DVI to provide an alternate wiring option that wouldn't require conduit boring under the driveways, except for the villas. It's possible to lay out the wire coming from the back of the home, excluding the villas because of the main wire backbone. And they have to bore into the side of the driveways. Lines could be spliced from the main line to the valve boxes in the front yards. This would not be feasible for the villas. However, this option poses additional challenges with a larger wire footprint and is susceptible to compromise due to the additional wire splicing. In other words, we have 2 mainline wires, one in the front, one in the back. That's going to add more complication and issue with splicing and other problems. As with everything, cost is an important issue. Although the cost of the conduit is relatively inexpensive, it's only 60 cents a foot. Option 1 is still the best option and will provide the extra protection needed to avoid compromise and other maintenance factors, especially since these valves are in the front yards. And we won't have to add more complications with additional wire splicings and maintenance with option number 2. So option 2 really is $297,000 for the homes and $50,000 for the CDD. So option 2, by its very nature, is going to be very complicated to maintain. And number 2 is cost prohibitive. So the recommendation that I'm making for the CDD is to go with option 1. And I'm hoping that the highway follow suit tomorrow at their board meeting to select option 1. So, any questions from the board?
Couple of statements, phase 1 has no conduit, that's correct?
No,
Phase 3, I'm sorry.
no, because the boxes are in the back.
Is there a life expectancy on the conduit wired system that it'll be good for
Forever.
25 years?
It's actually the
Way
same.
past our lifetime.
Yeah, and it can be rewired, I assume.
Yes,
It should, everything.
Yeah, that's what I figured, which would be the advantage.
Actually, the code for most of the day, except for the water.
yeah, there is no code for that here.
Yeah.
The controllers, the one that we're putting away was 3 days from now.
It's old, it's the old style.
And what would be the replacement of it?
We don't need it.
No, I know, but we do.
We do an ACC 2.
Yeah, what's the quote?
These they cost about $8,500. The beauty of the ACC 2 is it's a high-tech controller. We can get reports from it. We can actually hook it up to the Wi-Fi at some point in time,
Okay.
which would take into consideration the data, the weather, when the pump should come on, when the controller should come on, and that kind of thing. We're not there yet. That's a long-range planning item strategically, but we can get there.
Is the 23879 hard number?
Yes.
Any other questions? I'll make a motion for it then.
My motion that we select option 1 for the CDD phase 1 overhaul, irrigation overhaul.
With the information that, I had adjustments.
With the, right, yes,
I'll second that.
Phase 1 or phase 3?
phase 1.
Phase already done.
3 is finished. Can I get a second?
Bob, just need to vote.
David, let's get a question.
Aye.
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 Joe?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Kenny.
Yep, all right, moving on to March. March Madness.
Gators lost, that's not bad anymore.
Yeah. Under general landscaping, it's quite obvious Heritage Drive sustained some serious damage to the plant material due to the February freeze. Over the past few weeks, Juniper has been assessing the damage on the common property and homeowner lots. For the CDD, most of the damage affected were the hibiscus, the ixoras, the firebush, and other plants throughout the common area. Many, if not all, of these species have perished and will require removal. Juniper has prepared a proposal to remove all the dead debris and has been provided for the board consideration today. The impact of the freeze severely damaged approximately 1,200 plantings requiring removal. The cost to remove the dead plantings is $18,000 and change. Since the common areas primarily have hardwoods, with the exception of a few Chinese palm fans, which are very hardy, we don't have any trees requiring removal at this time. However, we have 4 foxtails on the circle that will need more time for recovery. If they eventually perish, a good replacement would be 4 sable palms, which are very hardy. They can withstand a snowstorm. In the meantime, we're going to keep an eye on those 4 foxtails out there. The following approach is submitted for board consideration. Hard prune all the trinettes during the detail to invigorate new growth. Approve the debris removal proposal from Juniper so the work can commence to remove the dead plant debris as soon as possible. We want to get rid of the eyesore as soon as we can. 3, assess where replacement plantings are required that are frost tolerant. I don't think we want to put the safe stuff in, right? We want to put stuff in that can withstand a hard freeze in here. Species and types of plants to the board for review and approval will be in May. We want to make sure we do the cleanup first, give us adequate time to assess what we can put in and where, because in some areas we may not have to have a 1-for-1. In other areas, we're going to have to do a complete replanting because the firebush, like in phase 4, where John lives, they're all dead. So they're all going to have to come in as part of this proposal.
Which ones are those?
That's around that circle,
Okay,
right behind where your place is. So we're gonna have to come up with a plan from Juniper on what to put in and where and what types of plants. Current operations, weekly mowing will commence on 1 April throughout all of Heritage Isle. The irrigation regimen is now twice per week. And we discussed the mainline reuse irrigation gate valves at the last meeting. Since that meeting, which was back in January, we held a meeting. It took place between myself, our engineer, Chris Wade from Juniper, Jeff Glenn from PITA, and Brian, our manager, which was held on 23 February in the clubhouse. The purpose was to discuss the protocol when a mainline rupture occurs, which we didn't have before. So Anna delivered a full copy. This is 2 copies of all of the locations of the mainline irrigation gate valves.
Well, at least we have it now, right?
We have it. Discussion ensued. With these blueprints, we can now determine where the mainline gate valves are located here at Heritage Isle. This all extends from the rupture we had at Abbeville. Okay, because Abbeville was an emergency and we had to get the whole thing fixed immediately. But there were some things that lessons learned from that, so that's why we want to have a protocol developed to handle the situation in the future. Hopefully we won't have any more, but we want to be prepared. So if we experience a mainline rupture, these blueprints will be used by Juniper to locate the pertinent valves that will allow applicable sections to be closed off. First, the pumps will be set in an idle status, then the applicable valves will be closed. Once closed, the pumps will be put back online and repairs can occur. This process allows us to provide irrigation throughout non-affected properties while repairs are underway. When Abbeville occurred, we had to shut everything down. So we had over a week where other properties that everything was running fine were not getting water. So here we isolate the problem so that the majority of the community can still get irrigation. So that's the whole purpose of this. And we have a sample SOP, actually, or SOP that the board can approve later on in this meeting. It's on the agenda.
Quick question.
Yes,
Is the last meeting you were gonna contact and see what trauma care had, is that what you have now, is everything you need?
Well, we have all the drawings except for phase 8. You might want to make a comment.
Yeah, so that is the site infrastructure assets. So it's not even the proper care. My understanding, what proper care did while they were here with PISI and the intervention contractor, is they mapped out the asset locations for the line on the lots. I do not have that. That was not anything that my company ever designed or was in charge of or had any kind of oversight to. So these are your main distribution lines and the valves that control them.
So at the last meeting, you were gonna reach out to trauma care, so is that been successful or we haven't?
I haven't reached out to them.
Okay,
I wanted to do this internally with our staff
okay.
and come up with what we have to work with.
This doesn't mean there aren't plants down there, we don't know. That's the problem. These are the main ones, so at least,
At least we have. All right, so let's get a little bit more focused on what's happening right now with Juniper and the homeowner lots. Juniper will be going lot to lot during the scheduled detail and remove dead shrubs that can be removed without the use of tools. Some shrubs will require a hard pruning. Juniper has on board additional people to support this effort. Their goal is to do 25 houses per week. That's the goal, and they're tweaking their process to achieve that goal. Is that right, Bill?
It's 25 a day.
A day, I'm sorry, 25 a day. Yeah, 25 a day. So the first week, we only got, 18 or 16, but you're tweaking that now, right? Okay,
that's short decisions.
yeah, well, it's a whole new process, so shrubs requiring tools to remove them will necessitate an enhancement work order, so Juniper can provide a proposal to the homeowner to remove the shrubs or plants. If a homeowner decides to replace the shrubs, an ACC application will be required for approval. Palm trees such as Christmas palms and foxtails will require more time to see if recovery is taking place. It could be 4 to 6 months on those. Juniper continues to meet scheduled maintenance and informs management when changes are necessary, so e-blast can be sent out. Homeowners look at the schedules, so we gotta make sure that, they're getting informed if we're changing anything. Additionally, Juniper is including, there's gonna be augmenting the workforce with 13 more people to help with the workload, and that should occur on or about 6 April. So that's right around the corner. So the cavalry is coming in to help out. Good news. Detailing and weeding go hand in hand. This is a priority to get the weeds under control. They are working on turf weed and pest applications. Juniper recently completed a liquid post herbicide to help with weed mitigation. In the future, Juniper will be identifying the fertilization and herbicide schedules on the calendar. This has been requested before, and now we can make sure we put it on here. The street tree removal and sodding over is still incomplete. The problem was getting sod. Juniper has informed us that they're working on that this week to get hopefully that thing done. That's been lingering on for months and months. And we brought it up in our joint landscape meeting. I'd like to get that off the docket, and get it finished. So they're working on that now. After that, phase 5 and 7, previously approved by the CDD upgrades. They will come the following week. Phases 5 and 7 have some small refreshes we have to do in there. Taking the dead stuff out and putting the sod in. I already mentioned about the corners of Galindo and Guerrero. And we are also in the mood, not the mood, but the mode to take out the stakes. We still have a lot of stakes around the property. Some on common areas, some on homeowner lots. So we've asked Juniper, when they do their detail, if they see these stakes that are rotting in place, we need to remove them. So that's on their list of things to get done. Wet checks are underway for the irrigation. We have about 21 timers deployed throughout various locations while the two wire gets repaired. Phase one irrigation, Juniper, Chris and his team have been checking the valves, making sure that when DVI comes in, we don't have valve problems, because if there's a valve problem, and when he puts the new wire in, we have a problem there. Okay, we might gotta make sure that that valve is functioning properly, so the whole system works. So we're working through that. Brittany and Leland have been very helpful with this, working together as a team. We don't do things in rice bowls here. We work as a team across boundaries. Make sure things get done correctly. It's 44 work orders open right now, and none of them are late. None of them are past due. So for Juniper, they continue to deliver landscape services and is focused on readying our properties for the spring season. Coupled with the deep freeze fallout, they are taking steps to increase the workforce to handle the extra cleanup work and scheduled maintenance. Any questions from the board on the March report? Sure.
Number one, I want to thank you very much for this quick detailed report. And we hired a horticulturist at the other time.
Yes,
Yeah.
Matt Maronchik.
That's next.
Six.
Yeah.
I think he needs some help.
No, I mean, he did the work. So we have Matt Ronchik, he's sitting over there. He's our new inspector from Rosetta. He goes out and he checks the common areas for defects, things that need to be fixed. Some maintenance out items in there, and we got his report last week. He did it in February. So it's not in the package, but I can just brief you. It's relatively short report. It only has 20 items on there, of which 10 have been finished, because the report was back in 7th February, right when we had the freeze. So I met with Bill and Chris this week to go over these. So I have it here. It's not in the package, but we can send it to the board members.
Okay.
Brian can send it to you.
Yep.
But the update is simple. 10 of them have been finished. We have some shrubs back on Balboa where the sidewalk dissects the phase. So we need to look at those. Some need to be replaced because it looks like they got water drought. We may have some erosion issues on that pond in Balboa, so we're gonna keep an eye on it. That's over there by where you are, Joe. Yeah, so we're gonna keep an eye on that one.
I'm glad to hear you yesterday.
Okay, and then we had 4 general maintenance items that need to be handled, so all in all, Matt's doing a great job for us, and when we get these reports, we take them seriously. We sit down, we go over them, and we try to work them into detail when we can get them completed. So we're in pretty good shape here. Do you have any comments, Matt, on this?
Not really. You know, when I do every other month to my inspection. So this last inspection that I did was in February, which is pretty close to when we were getting all the freeze damage and things like that. So now that we're moving into the growing season, the reports will probably be a little bit longer now that things are starting to pop up and things like that. But you covered most of the stuff that I've been talking about anyway, so it worked out really well. Unless you guys have questions for me.
I have one question.
Sure.
We're replacing sod in one of the areas. And I'm curious, what's the criteria for doing replacement of sod? I would make note of the fact that phase 4 part has some quite large areas that I've really watched for a number of years. And it doesn't appear that sod is ever coming back on its own. I think
Well, it looks like a Sahara Desert, it probably needs it.
it went,
If it looks like the Sahara Desert,
yeah, it's not there yet, but there are places
yeah.
where it is bare ground.
Well, what happens is, you've got phase 5 is an example. There was a corner over here by Vallejo. And it's looked terrible for a long time. So I said, finally, we gotta do something with this. Found out the irrigation wasn't working properly over there. The PSI wasn't good, so it wasn't getting irrigated properly. We fixed that. So now we're putting a new sod in, and we removed some shrubs and things that were blocking the sun. in there. So
I really kind of have a question. Does this, what is it, Augustine grass that we use, that sod, does that replenish and replace itself, or does it tend to eventually die out?
no, I mean, once it's in an area where it can get properly watered and fertilized, it's gonna grow fine.
And it should replace and regenerate.
Yes,
Yeah, and that's what I've been curious about, because there are those large areas in phase 4 that just have not regenerated. You know, but there have been problems with the sprinkler system in phase 4 park that appear to be fixed now. The sprinklers are working lately very well. So hopefully that would, I just was curious if it ever came back on itself or if they could reseed that, but I doubt it, right?
I doubt it, because once it's put in, we go on a special program for irrigation in there.
Let David.
Go ahead, Dave.
It's very cool. I would like to give you have you do the same that you just did today to the homeowners. There'll be a lot more people attending tomorrow than it is here today. And as you know, we've got a lot of emails that started flying around. And you answered all those questions about the plans.
Sure, I'll do it tomorrow.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay,
So, are you done?
no, go ahead.
Did we fix that problem, on the sidewalk? Have you done?
So we reviewed, and then I think you might have had some additional comments on that.
Yeah, I think he was decided to sort of leave it as, leave it as is. But usually right now structurally, it's fine, it doesn't look the best aesthetically. But we want to find and make sure that this one's got the, you know, correct, sidewalk detail from what they call traveling. So when you walk around community, some of them have that sort of picturesque square within the sidewalk panel itself, to make sure that that information is provided, so when they replace, install, construct, it's not just our own folks, our own vendors that have, you know, comes in, but that company or whoever comes and replaces the second sidewalk, they know what the statement is.
Thank you.
So Bill, do you have any comments you want to get up?
Yeah.
That's you.
The officer of company, that's question.
You touched on the scheduling a little bit. I just want to elaborate. So I've instructed the Mo crews to make sure that they work today to get back on schedule. So they'll finish phase 6 today by the end of the day. So that'll get us back on schedule. You touched on ramping up the staff. And I just wanted to elaborate to make sure that you didn't think that 13 people are coming to the CDD. It's in all.
No, I understand. Yep.
Wanted to make sure that was good. Something with detail. It's a lot of debris. It's really slowing down our days that we have to do the trash pickup. So with that said, there may be days where, like, for instance, yesterday, where we didn't trim a single bush. We just did trash all day. We actually hauled 9 loads of trash out here yesterday. So that alone is really slowing us down. I mean, by all means, if you want to remove your bushes that are dead, do it. I'm not saying that we won't pick it up. I'm just saying it's going to slow us down to kind of let you guys know that that's happening.
Well, that's why I was mentioning at our meeting
Yeah.
the other day that the 30 April complete date was probably dreaming. I would think it's gonna roll into May before we can be complete with the debris removal.
It very well could,
Yeah.
yes, sir. But at the same time, if homeowners are removing extra debris and we're picking it up, it may kind of even out. But we don't know until we get there.
That's your process to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To touch on the replacement for the stuff that's dying, we may want to consider like the IFAS Florida friendly landscape. A lot of that stuff is cold hardy. If you just Google Florida friendly landscaping, you'll find the website, it's like ffl.ifas.edu or something like that. You'll see it, they have a whole list, there's almost 500 things on there. I'm not gonna say all of those are gonna be frost tolerant, but they're gonna be more friendly for this area.
Well, you have the proposal in here on what's coming out.
Yep.
By location, the parks, and Legacy Boulevard.
Mhm.
So what I'm envisioning is we sit down and come up with recommended replacements for stuff that we're taking out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And then bring it to the board for them to review, approve.
Yeah, I may spend some time and just look through that list of 400 whatever plants and figure out, I've been doing landscaping in Viera alone for a long time. So I should have a good idea of what I think will live in here.
Okay, that's why I'm saying we're not gonna do it now.
Yes.
It's gonna take time to do this right.
Yeah.
So when we have our meeting in May, we'll have some good recommendations for the board.
This is gonna get tabled.
No, we're gonna do that.
Oh, we
I'm
are.
just saying, we already know what's coming out based on this,
Gotcha.
okay?
We don't know what's on it.
We don't know what's going in yet,
I'm with you.
okay?
And then, some of the sod issues that we're having in some of these parks may be due to shade.
Mm,
St. Augustine requires like 6 to 8 hours of sunlight to thrive. You can give it as much water as it needs, as much fertilizer as it needs. If it doesn't get that sun, it's gonna be thin,
Well, we helped the problem in phase 5.
for sure.
Right.
Yeah, so just another thing to think about.
Exactly.
Any questions for me?
I do, Bill, are you taking orders from people who have to replace their shrubs every day? Would that go into this time frame here too?
Am I taking order?
Let's say for argument's sake, come to my house and I want to replace 7 plants.
Yeah,
You know, the time period for that, after the time period of what you're doing here, are you taking that into consideration when you
Yes.
think this will be done?
yeah. So anyone that wants plants replaced, they can put in a work order for an enhancement through Juniper Sync. And Kayla will schedule times for me and her to come out and meet every homeowner.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll be part of your annual cruise job that you're putting on, or?
Yeah, that wouldn't be done with like the detail crew or the mow crew, it would be done with a separate crew. And we actually had a meeting this morning talking about like, you know, if X amount of dollars come in, how many extra people are we gonna need? So we already kind of have that ball rolling to figure out.
Do you have an estimated time for people who call you to be thinking of finally gonna get out there, because you have a lot of people that probably want to do that?
Yeah, and we're just gonna have to do it case by case.
Okay,
Yeah. It could be a full-time job for someone soon, or it could just stay kind of where.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be quite a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, that's, we talked about that this morning. We had a whole like almost 2-hour meeting this morning with all management at the office.
Thank you. Anybody else? John? Joe?
Good.
Right?
you just want a motion that.
If the words, I'm gonna ask that question too.
Tab two. Yeah.
Dollars and cents question. Always my love of money.
Yeah, if you go to tab two, you'll see proposal 389798 for 18,820.
Can you go around that number a little bit better than what's on this piece of paper? I mean, I'm asking me, but now I'm gonna ask you.
That number was like 24,000 when I started.
Could we make it 18 even, just to make everybody happy?
Was it exactly right now?
18,827.
I can look. I don't know if I can take that much off, but I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should we approve it for 18 and I'll wire it, it's where.
I think you need approval between now and here.
Yeah, I can try. I would say improve it for what it is, and if I can take any off, I will.
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Yep.
Joe, you want to move?
I make a motion to approve the proposal to remove the dead plants for $18,800.
I think 1827.
1827. 18,827, is it? Okay.
That's the number again.
18,827. But Bill said you could do it for 18.
All right, so I think we need to approve.
I'll second.
Second. Ready for a vote?
Everybody in favor?
Aye. Aye.
5-0. Thank you.
Yeah, here's the extra little drips and drabs here. We have an area over in phase 5 park. There's a villa over there. It's OS 33 is the common area designated. Where we have a drainage issue over there. It's behind Vallejo and it's adjacent to Park 5. And Anna's been out there to look at this. And I also asked Chris to go out and look at this. Apparently the water just sits there various times of the year and it's not draining properly. So we need a fix for that.
Maybe my ideas on the fix for that.
Yes.
So I think that probably a combination of things. One is when I was out with the structures in around the area were fairly dirty. Appreciate Chris and your team. You can see the grass is grown over a lot of them. It looks like they took it upon themselves to cut sections of that or at least pull it back. And a temporary solution, but the grass is at least, growing around them. So we probably need to come up with a more permanent solution to that particular item. In that, I'll call it a shaded corner of the park. I think part of the issue is if you've got sod over there that's not really growing because it's very shaded. The lack of sun obviously keeps water underground a little bit longer. In addition to that, it is allowing into that drainage structure. So my proposal would be to install probably a couple of yard drains that would be connected to that main larger drainage structure with the concrete box on the south side of the sidewalk. Probably 2 yard drains with maybe 6 or 8 inch under drain connecting those back into the main system so that it has a positive drainage component to it. In addition to that, to help the drainage when you go out, I've got some photos on my phone. When you look at it, I browse out, you can see there's an inherent low area. Most likely it's because of the mowing that's going to happen in there. So it's created sort of a low flat trough. Let's go ahead and utilize that for drainage conveyance component, maybe shape it up a little bit nicer so that I say nicer, but maybe more intentionally. So it directs that water better. I think that would certainly help that particular corner alleviate the drainage you see in that issue in that. And I can do it one of 2 ways. I can either come up with very detailed construction drawings, or I can do something a little more schematic and work with the crew in the field so we can field fit it. I think it's probably better use your dollars and cents for more money into the construction as opposed to like withdrawing information, but I'll be better with more of that.
All right, so maybe you can work with Chris.
Yeah, and coordinate with Brian to just make sure that if you want to see that on, pass that to me so you can see.
Yeah, I think we need to do a fix in there somehow.
Yeah.
It's a constant problem over there.
And I know, Brian, you're in the process of getting somebody to come out and clean, I think, all of the structures. Isn't that?
Oh, yeah, the storm drains, yes,
Yeah.
yes, as soon as we clear this.
Yeah, so that'll be part of that problem as well.
Oh, cool.
Maybe have something by the next meeting.
Yeah, May, yeah, that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I can easily have it around 2 minutes.
All right,
Didn't you say you wanted to do a notch in big branch?
Potentially, I mean, depending on the balance, so the other option is in the, I'll call it the collar and rim on the existing drainage structure. It's a little bit high compared to the ground around it, just being kind of walked down and mown down and driven over. If we can't get the drainage to go into those additional drains, looking at maybe notching a corner or 2 of that structure to allow water to flow through it is an option as well. I also want to take a second look at that to make sure that.
more than one option.
Well, it'd be along with the other option. What I don't want to do is propose something that ends up being a drainage issue and then that notch gets, full of grass, clippings, and it becomes a problem. So it's not taking that.
Well, let's, you guys work together, just think put me in the loop on that, okay?
Cool.
Just a couple more and I'll be done with this. Electrified pole. So FPL came in and installed a new pole at the end of Legacy on the north side. Which was planned. But Chris was out there working, on an irrigation pipe out there, which was leaking. And he touched the pole.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And you don't hear, so.
Yeah, he got a good hole, he got a good shot. Now, I didn't think concrete was conductive. But I talked to Chris Benoit, he's our point of contact for that whole project, and I said, Chris, our irrigation manager said he got zapped.
It wasn't grounded.
Well, I called him, he got all his experts together and said, yeah, it could have a much problem here. So we need to get that fixed like ASAP. So we haven't put cold around it. And it took a couple of days and a couple of emails and phone calls that I had sent. I said, I don't care who you send out here, but you gotta fix that. And they did.
What
They
did
did
they
fix
say
it.
the issue?
Something with the wire, I'm not an electrician.
So it's
but
just that one pole.
The one pole,
The one.
just the one pole.
Right.
So that got fixed. Again, a lot of phone calls for that.
He does have a.
City of Cocoa Water, here's another one for you. It's an oldie but goodie. When a water main breaks in here, it's normally gonna require them going underneath the sidewalk. That means they gotta take the slabs out to get to the gate valve down there. That happened on Forest Stand back in the fall. In fact, Dave, you called me. Said, hey, we got a leak over here. So I went over there and looked, and the guys were coming out. They fixed it. But since then, that sidewalk has not been repaired. We're talking what? 7 months ago? So Brian now has sent an email off to them, to the county manager. The town manager over there in Cocoa, saying, we need to get this fixed. So I'm just letting you know it's in the queue. We're working on it, all right?
Is there any reason we can't fix it, send it in the bill? I mean, instead of leaving it for 7 months?
And they want, so if you send an email to Stockton and the city manager, if you send something to Jack, he goes by John Walsh, he's the utility director for Cocoa. I can tell you, I have no idea how this happened, but for the last 2 months, the entire city of Cocoa has been unable to communicate through email, which is their main, almost primary source of communication. So I'm letting you know that I have had multiple construction plans, permits, excuse me, just completely go on red. They just in the last 10 days have been able to start receiving that correspondence. So I just,
Jack?
so I think it's actually John Walsh, but it goes by Jack. It's very confusing, but I can send you his contact information.
Yeah. Send it to Brian, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, we sent to the city manager and the administrative assistant to the city.
So the other person I would contact would be the city engineer, which would be hosting house and information.
Yeah, for the future, we know it take that long, we probably should check with Kyle if we could, fix it and bill it, because the we're thinking of like, there be somebody getting hurt, so.
Right.
No,
This is the final version of the irrigation agreement between the terraces, the HIDA, and the CED. It's done.
Good.
Okay, that's another thing that got finished. That's it. Any questions about landscaping, irrigation, anything?
Just wanted to mention that the tree has survived in
Right.
Phase 4 Park
No,
with the freeze going on, and Ken and I had thought the tree had died. And the first thing that's come back this spring is that little tree. So, okay.
So that takes care of that.
Thank you.
Pretty good. Any other questions?
Hoover, no phone or?
not that I'm aware of.
Chris can talk to this.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Tab 3.
Yeah,
Any
Chris,
updates
can
on
you
that?
tell us, the flow guard report we get from, Hoover? Everything is green on the 6-month report, except the one that has to do with these minimum and maximum alerts.
Right, so all the minimums, because we were only running, 1 day a week, and it's set for, when they set it up, they have it set for a certain amount of water. So we're gonna get a minimum usage because we're only running 1 day a week, we're using less water. So, that's the majority of kind of what comes up. It's nothing major, it's just, we're running 1 day a week, so we're using less water. But it still lets us know. So it would inform you, for instance, if something was down and we didn't run that whole week or something like that, then we would know. In this case, it was chose to do this way.
But we have human alerts here, too.
Right.
In other words, this is designed to allow people to manage irrigation when they're not anywhere near the site. Right.
Right.
But since we have, an irrigation team here, it's just extra information for us, but, they're all over this every day.
Correct, yeah.
So it's really not a problem at all. It's just
No.
extra information.
Just report.
Yeah, it just gives you more info,
Mhm.
you know, like if we said we're running full schedule and say everything's good, and that says we use no water, you know, there's an issue. No problem.
Okay?
Let's see. And, I see that's about, the report, which explains people in Tallahassee, should be working.
Yeah, sorry, I was fighting with my mute button there. No, obviously we've been working on any agreements and work authorizations necessary, but beyond that, I really have nothing specific to report. As far as the legislation goes, my office will be putting out a kind of a compilation of the legislation that affects CDDs as well as implementation guidelines. So once that's completed, I'll be distributing it to Brian, and I can send it to every member of the board as well.
Good morning. So I've got an update on the HOA drainage review component that your HOA can reach out about. Specifically, there's some streets in phases 1 and 2 that is soil engineering report identified. They're going to be going through and milling and resurfacing those sections of the road. So those report identified 4 roadway locations that had some minor to moderate base bleed. What that means is that the base rock, which is directly below your asphalt, is getting wet. When that happens here in Florida, it gets wet with irrigation or rain, what have you. It dries, right? When it gets wet, it stalls. When it dries, it shrinks, and that constant movement, what that translates to is cracking, longitudinal cracking along the top asphalt surface, which is what you're seeing. So before they go and resurface and resurface these areas, they asked us to take a look at what those drainage improvements might look like. And the soils report, or the soils engineer specifically, directed to use under drains. And so I had circulated, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, the first phase of that, finished that up last night with some more schematic drawings. And essentially what the proposal is, it's very similar to what you had done in phase 1 previously. I believe it was done under an effort through Lennar's when they were still here in the community. The under drain generally goes behind the sidewalk and comes in the back of those large drainage structures in the roadway. In this circumstance, I think that would be too disruptive. It would be very costly. Since they're already milling the asphalt surface course off, it makes more sense to install that under drain in the street, so the curb side, road side of the curb. Think about it, it's like you've got the concrete curb, and about 3.5 feet into the road is where that under drain would be placed. So I came up with schematics to show that the under drain parallels the street for certain locations, again, identified by the soil engineer, so I can mimic that, tied it into the existing drainage structures. And then I came up, based on those schematic drawings, essentially a rough order of magnitude cost for each one of those locations. Obviously, this would have to be reviewed with the soils engineer to make sure that it's consistent with his findings. The first location is within phase 1, that would be Renshaw, approximately $135,000 to do all of that work. Drainage basin wise, Savoy was a little bit more, about $165,000. Abbeville in phase 2 was $225,000, and Premonition also in phase 2 was approximately $240,000. The reason for that, the higher fees in the phase 2 area, is because of the way the location of those existing drainage structures located at either end of the street as opposed to in the middle. There's a longer length of under drain speed installed, so it's the length of under drain, saw cutting the road, make sure you can put it in, excavating down that base rock to be able to install the under drain, replacing that base rock, and then also replace the full depth of that asphalt that would be taken out of that milling cost. What the rough order magnitude cost does not include is the milling, the cost of the milling, because that's already going to be done in the HOA budget, I would presume. And so that's again, the rough order magnitude that you guys have, we've taken a look at and put together. So there were some other questions, I think your email on, responsibilities, cost sharing, how do we partner with them, do we partner with them? And so I think this is probably the time to have that conversation. Yeah.
Let's get it on first.
That's, yeah, I'm just trying to pick up on what the total cost is. And of course, it occurs to me, we went through lawsuits, I believe.
There was that.
In Zealand. And I'm curious, I don't know what happened to the money that came from those lawsuits.
You mean with Lennar?
If, with Lennar, if there was any, and where it went. And whether that was meant to help repair some of that. So I'm just curious.
I believe the answer is there is a portion of that through the soil report that originated from that was provided to us.
Yeah.
But maybe Brian might have more information on that.
Do you have the total cost?
So that belongs to, it was over 5 years ago. And we used up the money 3 years when Jay used it for pitfalls.
Well, I'm sure we would have used it up already, so. But that sounds like quite a coming bill to, association as a whole.
$800,000.
Yeah.
My question would be,
How much?
we're going to,
In round numbers, again, it's round order of magnitude because there is no true design of it. It's just based on a schematic drawing that they asked me to do. So that we have an idea. And again, they came to the CDD, approached the CDD. They are going to be replacing new roadways. Their soil report indicates that there are locations where the base is getting wet. That can happen for a lot of reasons. It can happen because there's a crack between the curb and the asphalt that wasn't sealed properly. And so when it rains and the irrigation comes out, it's getting in between the curb and the asphalt. That's why when you drive around or when you walk into a new community, a lot of times you'll see that little bit of asphalt appears to be over the lip of the curb, and you think, gosh, that's messy, why they do that? Well, they did it because they're sealing the crack between the two. It's not really by accident. It also happens, a curb line break, so there's break in the asphalt, or it's just, the summer weather. And again, when that base rock gets wet, and it dries and it gets wet again, it constantly shrinks and contracts, and it creates those cracks, which allows for more water infiltration. So they're asking, again, their report indicated there was some base leaking. It didn't identify the specific cause of it. It just said that there's some base leaking there that's getting wet. And because the CDD maintains and owns the drainage system, they were asking us to take a look at that and explain it.
This is Florida. Is that almost normal? Some of that sounds like it's going to happen potentially no matter what. I don't know if it could ever be done perfectly so that it wouldn't, but I don't know.
Some of the ones that I believe have been trying to identify with the areas of, greatest impact, and they saw the largest abnormalities. I was part of that report process. I wasn't in that professional team, so I can't, speak to that, but I presume based on the report that we got, those would be areas they identified that have
I'm just curious if it was an expected amount.
It's all in a lot of years.
Yeah, exactly. This is Florida. Everything goes eventually. And unfortunately, it sounds like the roads are going to have suffered some damage no matter what. So.
Biggest the age.
They're still deep in there. I think maybe one of them wants to say something.
okay, my question would be, this would seem like the one time that our property, the drainage is actually going to go into the road. You said about 3 feet, which is district property. So most of I know we're well hand in hand and all that, but future repairs and stuff would also have the same problem, being a shared, the drainage being underneath the road, where the other time you said the other option was something about being closer to the sidewalk.
Right, if you've ever had to go in and maintain it, listen, you never want to go and have to tear them up.
Yeah.
Right, it's never, no one's anyone's first choice, it's an expensive option. In this circumstance, again, because of the age of the community, you haven't had these issues long-term. They're, immediately, it's taken a long time for them to show up. Putting in the under drain, in addition to those under drains and having connections to the main structures, those under drain, I think it's a French drain. So when I say under drain, French drain is probably a more familiar term. If there's not a drain structure that it's directly connecting into, that end, I'm proposing to put in what's called a clean out. So it's a 12 by 12 court with a concrete collar around it, so that you can get down and access that underground and vacuum it out. They do require maintenance, and they will,
Do you believe that the future maintenance or problems would be clearly identified between being either a road issue or a drainage issue, and so just because it's located in the middle of the road, that would be a factor?
it's not that it's a factor, it's just locating it on the back, like now we're talking about tearing out all of your sidewalk, going through, there's a lot more, the number of challenges increase infinitely putting it on the backside of the sidewalk after it's been constructed, in my opinion. And then those challenges directly relate to an increase in cost.
So a road issue further down the road, you don't think would affect the new drain, or the new drain wouldn't really affect the road issue that might occur?
So what we're hoping is the new drain should affect the road in a positive manner, by pulling the water out of it. So it can happen again from rain, it can be from over irrigation. That happened in the very early beginnings of the community when stuff was getting established. The irrigation system just never seemed to shut off. And originally, I don't know if there are any original members here, but the irrigation wasn't completely controlled by, somebody like a Juniper. The homeowners figured out how to turn on their irrigation at their homes with those decoders. They were running all the time. And there was issues with, similar issues with there's the cotton.
Real quick, I know we own the main drain system.
Yes.
They drains on the lots are owned by
Not us.
the district, correct? So it's like, this seems like it would be very similar, almost like this is a district issue where we're included and connecting into our main drain. But the real problem seems to be in the district, in the road, and that would make it a single entity that's responsible for that and not be split between two. They just connect into our main drain, the same as a home or a lot.
So that's hard.
So that's just, and I can listen
We'll get into that.
Okay, that was my question.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So my question is, what's the plan? Okay, and speaking of money real quick, just going into a question, settlement for road defect, $760,000. And the district has a dedicated line item for reserves, paving, resealing, 1,1.5 million. And then we have a pooled account that has additional money as well. So we're well capitalized, but what's the plan?
Yeah, that would have been my next question was,
Let's
were we covered for reserves? That's all.
Well, the answer is yes, and the answer is no. I mean, it's a multiple problem, and I really don't want to get into it very much now, but, the water is water, wear and tear is wear and tear. And who's responsible or responsible, it's one community's responsibility. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Dave. Glad you got the money.
Yes, I'm glad to get the money.
Kenny, anything on that?
No, I just kind of wonder, when they put the road in and the drain, was the drain system put into a code?
Yes.
Well, we'll never know if it's approved, so. But
It was approved.
yeah, so,
Okay.
it's like a piece of wood in my garage that I was missing and I couldn't put off the door.
But this thing has potential for all the roads in here. We're only talking a few.
It's years from there, I really flood like that, actually. Like, Camberley doesn't, a lot of them go flood like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's that particular area that's very, very bad. And yes, there are options, like you said, we go in and try to get rid of the water to the place, but again, the road is still 21 years old. And it's just lasted a long time. But, that's another matter. We just want you to look into it, now we have the answer of what we can do and what we can't do. And David has highlighted their responsibility on the item, Rich, so thank you for that. And we'll move on to the next item.
So if I may, with that, is there any more communication that's needed maybe between Brian and I so that you can answer the HOAs? They've reached out with questions. I have not been having, complete direct communication with that. I think Brian, you've been handling that. So do you have everything you need from me to close that loop?
I'll follow up with
Okay.
Brittany to see if she has any additional inquiries, and then if she does, I'll send it your way.
Kenny's question is a very good question, but the unfortunate thing is a lot of things are approved in here that probably shouldn't have been approved. But let's go on.
Okay.
We're never gonna be able to solve that one because working with the county is, yeah, it was good. Let's go under business administration, consideration of the minutes. Tom, sorry, Brian, I skipped you.
You did, that's okay. I needed a minute to write. Okay, mine is short. You have your irrigation SOP that Ken referred to earlier in his report, so please feel free to review that and make any needed comments. And then, yay, good news, proof of loss. One of your controllers went down. We filed an insurance claim, so you will be getting back $6,000 for that. That's all I got.
That was the, lightning strike for A7.
Can you believe you went all these years without an
I could, I could.
All right, consideration of the minutes, any questions on that?
I don't know.
That, well, I got you beat. Line 52, we revised, there was some additional verbiage in line 134. We had some misspelling on name that has also been revised. What do you got?
Line 221,
What's going on in line 221?
it was my motion. It states that I made a motion to paint sidewalks for golf carts.
Line,
So not it. It was a motion to designate, identify the only sidewalk.
the motion was wrong? Okay.
Yeah, the motion was to identify the only sidewalk that's allowed to have golf carts, so it would be designated.
Revise. Repeat it for me, Jim.
The motion was made to identify the only sidewalk that is allowed for use of golf carts.
Okay, so you will be taking a motion to approve your minutes in substantial form with the revisions notated.
I make a motion to approve.
John,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye. All right, good.
Ratification of the operation and maintenance expenditures. What's the total on that, Brian?
So for December, you have $138,202.65. I did review this. All general operation, all projects that we've been working on, landscape, the mainline breaks for irrigation on Abbeville also hit December. Some of your reoccurring costs. The Carambola, I believe it was Carambola or Camberley sidewalk repairs also hit that. So nothing out of the ordinary that we haven't already discussed. And then January had a total dollar amount of $76,379.29. Also, regular reoccurring services, utilities. You did have your DBI payments for the irrigation overhaul of phase 3. And then just some regular reoccurring costs. Recommend approval when ready.
Just one admin comment on that. We gotta make sure Juniper, when we close out the fiscal year, any invoices that are in the mill need to be turned back into us within a month. If it's late, we can't go back and open up the books and record them. So that's a discussion I'm gonna have with Josh.
Yeah, remember, applies to the government, we can't, do that.
Right.
Any other questions? Motion for approval? Kenny?
I'm on second.
I'll second it.
All right, motion from Ken, second from Bob, vote.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Good.
Okay. Ratification of district items, Juniper first, there's 4-valve replacement on Samsung, phase 7 walkway plant removal installation. Let's do that one first, and then we'll do Drew's. Any questions? What's the amount of money in that one, Brian?
So you have for the valves, $1,800. $1,800, then for the phase 7 walkway, 1,321. 30.
That one's really underway, the ratification, yeah. Right. We're waiting the, dwarf viburnum and the sod for that one. That's be next week, right, Bill?
Well, you're gonna.
We already did, it was already approved.
Ratification.
We're just ratifying it now.
Take a motion to ratify that. I'm a second.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay, Drew's Landscaping, Guerrero and Galindo Bullnose. Is that already done, Kenny?
Yeah, it's finished.
Amount on that one?
$6,294 even.
You guys gave me not to exceed 10,000.
He just does come out the cheap and he does great work.
He does.
I make a motion to ratify the Drew's Landscaping.
Second.
Second by John, everyone in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay, now into the meaty stuff, consideration of alligator sign for this. Anybody want to tackle that one?
And what does that mean?
So Ken, if you recall, this was, you had sent me this couple months ago that we just wanted to get some additional signage. So this looks like it's for 10. Oh, so for this, please exclude the labor costs, and the taxes. So you're looking at a proposal for $2,767 plus labor. Labor's not included in that
How
number.
many signs?
10. So if you recall, we had originally put together a map of multiple signs, but
Right.
we started with a certain amount. So when we discussed, you said, hey, let's bring it back. Let's see if we could add additions to the pond.
So we're gonna do the same signs.
Same signs, same artwork.
Same, yes, up and down.
That's the same sign we have now.
Yep.
So are they replacing existing ones or are we putting in additional?
No, these are identified new locations throughout the ponds in here.
New?
Yes, new locations.
These, what new?
Okay, this is just for consideration. You can say no.
Does each one of our ponds currently have signs?
Yeah.
Yes. The way we place them, yeah.
I had one resident talk to me that, he said he had called you, Brian, and requested that the no fishing sign, which I believe is at the end of Pond 1 along Guerrero, that he it lives nearby, and that the no fishing sign was gone,
Yeah.
and all that was left was post.
I believe that.
And so I was wondering if that was going to be repaired or fixed.
You would need to buy the sign and then we'll just install the labor. You would need to buy the sign.
Well, yeah, and I see this new sign does say down at the bottom, no fishing.
There's a lot of those.
This, all of your current news, so you have, originally when the community was developed by the bridges, there is a different sign. But the ones that we did 2 years ago, this is the artwork. This is what they look like.
Right, at one time, they were just a small no fishing.
Correct, correct.
Now this is expanded, and this also said it. I'm just saying, I had one of the residents mentioned that he had asked and been talking about getting the sign replaced at the end of Pond 1, because he has kids that
Sure.
are coming there and hanging around and fishing.
So
And he doesn't particularly care for it.
you could buy them. You could have your aquatic vendor who's gonna install them anyway, store them for a period of time, and then we can
Make
just
a
do
motion to buy a
repairs.
sign if you wish. And we can.
Not me. It's what does the board want?
Well,
I think I'm against the list, and I agree.
Okay.
yeah,
Do we have 10 real areas that we need to put additional signs in?
Do you have the location?
I do. I have the original map.
Let's say Brian is talking about the, working on all the different dots.
Yes, years ago.
Yeah, probably 2 years ago.
Yes. Yeah, X marks the spot.
and
Well, we just like going some of the road. These are ones that haven't been replaced at all, is that what we're talking about?
Well, we haven't replaced the one that John just brought up. I hadn't been aware that we were missing a sign, so that has not been done, so we'll need
So that
to.
would make 11. That's what we're saying.
Or you could just pull from this, proposal.
But you just said we have 10 locations, put those in.
You have more than 10. I think our whole map, I'll have to double check. I think we have probably 20 signs left if we wanted to honor that original map.
Still, we have this, just need to put them in.
No,
We have the locations, we do not have the sign. We phased out the locations. Does that make sense?
Go ahead.
Well,
I can't see a need to add more signs, but I can see if we have ones that currently are there that need replacement. So it sounds like we have one sign that needs replacement. And I don't think we have a need for any more. That's my personal opinion.
I would like to,
Ask them.
split this off into maybe Matt and I can review the original thing we did and see where these are missing, because I'm kind of on.
Table for next meeting.
Move to table.
Move to table.
Second.
Thank you, David.
Thanks.
Everybody in favor? I vote, we will table it, then. Send a note off to Anna and myself, Anna's with that, and I'm sure she still has that, right?
I have it. I have it now.
And find out where we didn't put it, it's just that maybe said.
do we have any speculation on when we might do signs? Because I'd like to add,
If we
one
need it.
resident,
If we need it.
you know, the resident was a little concerned because he never heard back.
Well, just come over and review mine, number one, okay, and, we'll have to answer it in a week or so.
I'll give them, someday we'll have a new sign.
Yeah. Tell them it's not the only one.
Maintenance.
Right.
Yeah, we could do a
Maintenance
repair in
issue.
between meetings, yeah.
Just a single maintenance.
Still that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's go on consideration of phase one irrigation, we already voted.
We already voted on it.
Consideration of the bridge enhancement proposal. I'm sure everybody got that in their package. Brian, you want to review first and then we'll pick up on it?
Yeah, so, board, if you recall, you had directed district staff, myself and Anna to work on verifying a scope that was applicable to our bridge repairs. Anna provided a detailed scope, which we shared with the vendors. Both of these vendors, we reached out to 5 vendors, by the way. These are the only 2 that, have submitted proposals thus far. So right now you're looking at options. CVS Restorations gave you a total dollar amount of $177,120 for PVC decking. This is the big difference here of what we're talking about. We have PVC and we have composite options. And then on the same PVC option, Sunrise Decks gave you a total of $203,220. Now, to Bob's point, Sunrise, and this is where I would like your review on, Anna. And I don't know if it's on the website for the revised, but I'd like Anna's opinion on Sunrise gave us a lot of additional material. And I don't know if it was needed, based on my observation on what was needed, maybe some of the things that they added, lowered the price, but in terms of quality of the decking, would that be impacted? So what you're looking for is, do we want PVC options? Because that's going to be a different proposal, or do we want composite options? Yes,
So my.
those are the 2.
Governmental work, you need a commercial grade quality decking. That would be composite. I don't care about the name brand, there's a lot of name brands out there, kind of like, getting your stamp, like they've proven the one is better, the path is not right, so like Trex decking is the composite decking, that's the name brand, most people know. That would refer to that, it does not need to be that name brand, but something I would say is improved equal, would be something that you would want to consider. We have recently provided that same level of, information and criteria for the town of the Atlantic. They're replacing one of your peers that goes out in the river. So I would think it's similar. That would be my recommendation.
So, number one is all 5 bridges.
Both of them, yes.
And, I work on this with Ann, and I work on this with Brian, the consideration of both of those companies, I really worked with one of them, I didn't work with the second one because I was busy, and she was done within 20 minutes looking at the bridges. I thought that was kind of quick. But, it's two good quotes. I talked to Alan about the composite is probably the way to go. The question is, well, the cost of composite, because there's three different qualities of composite. I don't know which one she quoted. We don't have to take the name brand, which is task. All of them go into the same spec, so we don't need that. They're all warranty the same amount. So we probably can, get it for not using the brand new one, but using the equivalent of it for a better price. Composite will eliminate any, problems we would have with liability. PVCs do break, they scratch, they cut people, they cut bicycles going over, things like that. So composite does create a problem that it does fix the windshield, but again, composites last 20 to 25 years. The bridges we have now haven't lasted that long, they need to repair numerous times during. The second quote from Sunrise included a lot more material than the first one did. So I'm not quite sure whether we need all of that, but we're gonna rebuild it in Santa Claus, we probably should go for it. I'd like to hear everybody's comments and then I'll comment at the end what I'd like to do.
Oh, my comment?
Yeah.
I have no idea what a PVC bridge would look like. I mean, when you say PVC to me, I'm looking at a pipe that's white.
No.
Okay,
So
so
maybe you're talking just the material.
look at the bench that's out there. The benches, most of the benches we have are PVC. So it's not.
It's really the plastic material.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, I think that would be a step down,
Definitely.
in my opinion.
Yeah, so the composite and PVC, they're both made out of plastic material, so we can understand that. Composite is more dense. Right, it's got a it's, yes, the higher strength component to it. Last longevity is better with the composite deck. And you pay for it, it costs.
Probably looks more wood-like too, right?
It does have more,
Composite is really the better.
The experience I've had in the past, until that, and until Brian experience I had up in New Jersey with the boardwalk went on fire, they were considering both of them. The reason they didn't go with the PVC was an insurance liability, because it does break and it does cut people.
Well, that wouldn't be a very good option then.
Yeah,
I have composite decking on my home in Vermont, and it's 26 years old, and it looks as new as the day it was put in.
Wow.
and it probably doesn't wood, right, they do next to it, having the wood burning finish to it, it's just.
the good thing is I tried to get us to do composite last time in the bridges, but now there's some composite is coming again. Because there's more competition maybe. What I'd like to propose, if the board will go along with it, is to have us revisit this item with the vendors and come up with exactly what they are and give us and what we're promoting and all that. And I guess it's too bad it's 2 months, but we could be able to last a little bit longer and find out what exactly they're giving us. Because none of them give me the grades of composite they're giving me, and I want to give them the option of using different manufacturers. I mean, it's nice to throw out, we're gonna do Mercedes, we're not gonna do Chevy, but Chevy, they live for 25 years, they don't need Mercedes for 50. And those are the kind of questions I'd like you to allow myself to run in and to dwell into and come back with a recommendation at the next meeting.
Just on composite, correct?
Yes.
Well, I want to say just, so you don't close it off completely, there are really good grades of PVC decking that are superior in some fashion, so I would caution you to close the door completely. I will tell you that these proposals don't give you enough information to make any kind of determination.
Okay. So let me make a motion that we decide on the composite and then allow us to do the negotiating on that based on manufacturing and so forth.
Would you like to add a motion? So you budgeted 170,000.
We at least, we could do that.
You could set your original budget,
We can do the top number, which is 170 something.
170,000 was the recommendation.
I thought it was 204.
No, so when we set our budget last year for the bridge repairs, we set 170, and from what we've seen, if we go composite, it's actually gonna be a lesser cost. So I believe we'll fit the 170.
Budget $170,000 for 5 bridges. And negotiate exactly what we're gonna get and represent to the board at our next meeting for final approval.
I'll second that.
Who's my second?
Oh, you got the
Walter.
second?
Joe? Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I've done that for years, I keep calling.
That moment, quick. Consider resolution, Brian, I'll let you do this one.
This is actually gonna be Kyle. Kyle, we're bringing you in for resolution 2026-01 general elections.
Here.
He is here.
Yep.
Give him a
No,
minute.
yeah, sorry. So this is just, there are 3 seats up for election this year. This is just the authorization, it's the notice to the community, the authorization for Brian and his team to submit it to the local supervisor of elections to get it on the, get the seats on the ballot for this upcoming November, and directs Brian and his team to publish the notice for the notice to the community that these seats are available and up for election. If anybody in the community would like to run for the seat, or if the board supervisors in their seats would like to run again, you do need to register with the supervisor of elections during the qualifying period, and I believe that's June 8th through June 12th of this year, I believe are the dates. So happy to answer any questions, but really it's just getting the election process started.
Adopting resolution 2026-01.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-01.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Brian,
All right, so now we're looking at your resolution 2026-02, approving 26-27 proposed budget and setting your public hearing. So before we go into the resolution, let's look at the budget on tab 12.
I think we need to let Juniper things.
yeah, that's, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, y'all.
Thank you.
Matt, you're good too.
That quick question, how long are you scheduled down here?
Every other month.
Thank you.
So typically I'll come out in the beginning of that cycle.
So every other month ties in with our meetings, and we're gonna, good, thank you.
So I'll start on the general funds and I'll review the packet with you. So we're looking at page 1. The only variable that's going to change between the administrative section, so Ken and I, when we had set the proposed budget, we originally accounted for 5% increases on some of your management fees. That is actually coming down to 3%, not 5%. So there's some variance there. And then scrolling through your administrative section, unless anybody has any questions from lines 16 through 42. Scrolling down, you see some storm repairs. So next year we have discussed that we're going to be doing the storm drain cleaning. So we're prepping the bid process there and most likely start that up next year. So you'll see an increase of 15,000 to line 53. Line 53. Scrolling down to landscape mulch. So over the last few years, our landscape mulch has varied a bit while we've been working with our contractor to get the accurate footage, yardage for our actual mulch. So that has been trued up to your current value.
It's 900 cubic yards.
900 cubic yards, there it is, that's the number. Big one right now affecting an increase in your general fund is your landscape maintenance. So your current agreement with Juniper on behalf of the CDD is up September 30th, 2026. We've already began working with staff on prepping for the landscape RFP. And based on that information, We've been working with, Chad, not Chad, what's his name? Josh Burton.
Josh.
Yeah, Josh Burton. So, Juniper said that they're pulling as much as they could, but we can anticipate roughly a $400,000, budget for landscape maintenance. That would be taking us up from our current 337 to 400.
That's 27. Yeah, remember, this was not compete, this, the last time this was competed was over 3 years ago. Right. And, just due to the cost of everything associated with landscaping, we talked to him, and I mean, he came in a lot higher than that. I said, no. The number that they came initially with.
They started at 5.
Right, and I said, there's no way we're gonna do this at
Yeah.
that number.
Yeah.
Okay, so after many discussions with him, they came down.
So how much did the increase?
25% increase.
Yeah,
It would
it's
take,
going from, we're paying now 338,000 a year.
400.
So we're talking 400.
yes, 337 was last year. This is listed as 420 for 2027, 83,000 increase, and a 25% increase.
Yeah, we put the 420 as a precautionary number because we didn't know if they were gonna be above that 400 threshold, but they reported back, they feel comfortable in that 400 line. So to give you some peace of mind, I did go back at your original RFP, and I did review the only other competitive bid that was actually priced around 398, 400. So it looks like Juniper probably just took a loss on the front end, and now they're catching up to what our property actually costs.
Well, it's a straight up, all good work.
That's,
Once you get into a community, it's money available.
You know, one of the things I've learned doing this job is that for Heritage Island, at one time, we had 2 vendors on this property, and
Yeah, that was no bad.
it was an absolute disaster. We had Brightview on here, we kept Brightview for the CDD, and of course, at that time it was Herber, and they decided to go with Juniper. So 6 to 7 months into that deal, just everything for the Brightview side for common area just went down the toilet. I mean, it was hard to manage. I had a problem getting people coming in here to work. We need to really understand that we need a one vendor concept in here for all of Heritage Island. And I realize that Terraces has their own vendor, but they sit kind of on an island unto themselves over there. But the best way is one vendor for the homeowner lots in the common areas. Everything gets coordinated better, we manage it a lot easier. You're on one belly button all the time, instead of going to 2 that look the world differently. And to be honest, it becomes a management nightmare. If we have 2 vendors.
So I have a question. Do you believe that we get better prices then because they know that if they get one, they get all 3? Or 2?
I would say so, because they started at 5.
I mean, we should realize that. If
Yeah.
you're doing just us, it would be probably higher.
It
But
was,
they're willing to bring it down.
Yes.
Because they know that if we go, so goes the nation, right?
right, exactly.
That's good negotiation.
One of the things too is that, and we've been through it with Brightview and we went through Juniper, and after Profit Care walked away, is that there is a learning curve.
Mhm.
And I have the feeling, my opinion, that Brightview came in and used the first year or 2 as a learning curve for their company. And when Juniper came in, they basically repeated and had to start all over, brand new crew, get a hold on the irrigation system. So it's just sort of the reality of it. It'd be nice to stabilize.
They're beyond the learning curve now.
That's right.
They're beyond the learning curves. They know all the nuances and how to take care of this place. The issue is managing them and making sure that they meet those requirements.
In other words, keeping you in that seat, in other words.
In other words, it requires that level of management here. I mean, let's be realistic about this.
Let's do a little history. Kenny's right, we had 2, before that, we had 1. The one that we had could not do the community once it was built out.
Right.
That was the biggest problem, it was really too small. Berkeley, by the way, is a New York Stock Exchange company, they don't need a
Yeah.
you know, they were pretty,
But-
they were pretty small.
But it's a collection of companies all over the country.
They're all
owned by one.
Sorry, run pretty well, and the problem is he also had different boards at the time, so it was little snipping at the heels and stuff, all of that, and we don't want that problem. As long as they're committed to do anything within a 7 or 10% raise, which is almost the cost of living, it's almost 4%, we don't need to go, you know, we're happy with what they're doing, we were not happy to do it, but they've come around today. And this is the guy that's satisfied because he goes around and looks at everything. You know?
Yeah.
I agree. Unequivocally, that $100 is optimal. Where the disconnect is here, that's an opportunity to improve. Looking at this, like what we accomplished with the irrigation. With us working together, getting one bid,
Exactly.
and what we're probably gonna do with the roads is getting bids at the same time. For the development of pavement and the sub-period repair. So what I would love to see in the future is where it's coordination down or down, just the item. And when we do this landscape contract, we do it at the same time and try to train it with the CDD contract, because that's where we're probably gonna get a better price. To do that.
Okay, you know, now that the fact they negotiated down to 400, then you know exactly what increase they can actually play with. So the ball's gonna be in Heights court, depending on the bid they get from.
Do it at the same time.
And if it's the same increase percentage wise, then we won't change it.
Yeah, we still have to go through the formal RFP.
That's what we're gonna do. It's just a question of going out and getting more.
Well, we have to go out the formal RFP.
That's right.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we'll go through that exercise. What you're really just discussing is that dollar amount. We do recommend you do not change it, because in the event that, if you're looking back 3 years ago, the only other bidder was already in that wheelhouse. So if you roll the dice and you're like, hey, we're only gonna account for 10% increase, now you might have proposals that are way out of the wheelhouse and now you don't have the budget for it. So I'd recommend just keeping that, just keeping in mind, we're working on it. You're gonna consider a landscape RFP, at which time we could do some more hard negotiations.
Well, we have a little bit of time too, because this is not the adopted, approved budget.
Correct.
We're gonna do that in May,
That's right. July. Yeah, July 21st will be our,
So we have some time to get the RFPs go out.
most likely around that time frame.
you know,
It's gotta be done before that.
So your contract's up September 30th of 2026.
Yes, but our budget's already.
So yeah, we're probably going to be, well, we've already started the RFP, so I would imagine around May after the meeting, that's when we'll start the RFP process, because it takes about a month to go through the RFP process. Then in your July meeting, along with your budget, you'll have an accurate number of what to expect.
Okay.
it has to be publicly announced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and I already talked to Matt, the version that we're using is the one that we updated, over 3 years ago, so it's current. It's the project manual is what we use, that's what goes out to potential offers. So, well, you make a good point, Dave, that maybe we should touch base with Juniper and give them a 3-month extension and then have an award in 1 January.
We need to do that, but we still have to approve our budget.
Yes, we do.
So it doesn't really.
The budget amount,
The point is, on everything that we have both on, we should always go out bids.
right,
And that gives us strength.
yeah, we got a 3-month difference there.
You'll set your end term for the new agreement for your landscape RFP to end on theirs.
Exactly. So.
Yes.
That's all we'll do.
We change one like 3 months longer, 3 months shorter.
Exactly. We'll line it up with HIDA's.
Which is a 1 January,
Exactly.
so that would be the award, if we were to go that route.
Because we're gonna have to do that only because we have a election that we have to approve by certain.
Otherwise you lose your negotiating power.
Yeah. No.
That's one.
The legal question might be is whether we can do what we're doing now, which is great, is a landscape committee that can coordinate the selection process and that it is a coordinated process between the boards
Well,
rather than a standalone process like two.
it has to be a separate,
Yes, but
it has to
legally,
be separate.
yes.
However, they're aware of what's going on so that we get the unity.
And I think legally, we can work with that
Right.
as long as we also know that it's beneficial to us to have a joint meetings and do some joint discussion.
Well, I don't want to call this, it's got to happen in the center.
We've already
Well,
leave
I'd be curious about that
Stable.
state, well,
Yeah.
no.
If I could jump in, Wes and I had a discussion with Ken on the coordination of this earlier in the year when, or I believe it was last year, when we were thinking about getting this process started. There's definitely a way to do it that Wes and I are comfortable with. So, we'll coordinate once we actually go out to RFP and, make sure we're hitting all the legal hurdles. Obviously a decision can't be made outside of a, board meeting. You all have to, approve or make the selection. But Wes and I are aware, and we're on top of it. Once we go out to RFP, we'll make sure we're legally compliant with everything.
Thank you, God. We have your conversation last time, okay?
Yeah, let's keep going through this budget. So, jumping into line 62, you see a decrease of $30,000. This is gonna be our off year for, pressure washing. So you're going down from 85 to 55. And then sidewalk repairs. So this is the last year that we're doing our extensive sidewalk repair with Precision. Next year, you will consider another proposal with Precision, but it should be a lot more reduced because they're gonna be revisiting the areas that they did 2 years ago. So, I think 30,000 is an appropriate amount, bringing that down by 15,000. The annual infrastructure inspection report is coming up in this next fiscal year, so I'll be
Curb power washing, is that in here?
It would be included in the sidewalk pressure washing.
So that's much cheaper is what you're saying, when we do just the curbs.
Oh,
It
yeah,
says sidewalk, but it's really sidewalk slant and curb.
correct. Yeah, it's pressure washing. So whatever we want to use the pressure washing for, we have that privilege.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Not really.
Let them keep down.
this area. So the infrastructure line, we've, upped that to 17.5. Anna, are you comfortable with that number?
Cheaper to do the same time.
I'll tell you what. So I went through and started looking at that for this specific purpose and looked at what it was last year. Included, like an 8% increase because it's been 2 years since we've done it. Then decreased it by 25%, I think it was, because we're not looking at those sidewalks. And I won't have to do the reporting on that and broke that out. So my number is really closer to like 23,000
That's okay.
with that. It's actually 23,540, but I don't want Bob to beat me out, so I'm just gonna tell you it's 23. So we can get that number.
You want me to go 23 or 24?
I can do it for 23.
Okay.
I can make it work for 23.
All right, so, board, are we okay with taking that from 17.5 to 23 even?
Wait a minute.
The infrastructure.
Right, but Precision Concrete picked up a lot of the load, right?
Well, they did all the sidewalks. So remember, I'm doing the report, I'm looking at all the curves, I'm going here looking at all the parks, the bridges, the drainage structures. We've got to go, our survey team comes in and surveys all the structures, tells you what it is. So there's about a 25% reduction in the work component. So walking, we're still coming through the whole community and looking at everything, but I don't have to look at the sidewalk component. So I did remove that. The sidewalk, when I break it out, think of it from like 100% perspective, doing the sidewalks is about 15% of that overall number. And then I took out another 5% from the reporting part of it because we're not reporting on that.
So are you gonna give us a proposal?
I certainly can.
I
Yeah, I mean,
probably would like to see a proposal.
Yeah, because this is just a budget.
Right.
yeah, you guys asked me to come with a budget tonight, so I have that. I've just got it written down, but I
Yeah.
can certainly give that to you.
No, yeah.
Normally, you guys consider that later in the year.
Correct.
And then I'll do the inspections in the fall with it being provided to you the first quarter of the following year. But I can certainly do that.
So we're gonna take it to 23
Yeah.
for the
Yep.
proposed budget. Okay. All right. And then everything else in the general fund, no, nothing to note there. Any other questions on the general fund before we jump into your reserves? Hearing none, let's jump into the reserves.
One of the other things that we did, Brian has a database, especially for the Rosetta costs, that they tie exactly to what the contract calls for.
Yes.
So they weren't like estimated or guessed.
They've always been good.
Yeah, we went line item by line item here, spent quite a bit of time going over this.
Yeah, all your costs are set to contract and, whatever your annual increases call for, depending on vendor, but it's a super accurate budget. Taking you to the reserve, so you see the reserves currently call for a $56,000 increase. If you recall, last year we had carried a 113,000 balance over year. This was to offset the increases for the bridge repairs, the 170,000 that we had forecasted. So every other year we were moving forward $57,000 less. So this year, instead of 113, you're carrying over a balance of 57,000, which is offsetting the total increase for the year. And your reserves are actually staying pretty flat. So no major increases to your reserves currently. Would be open to further discussion. I know we just discussed with Anna the potential of roadway repairs. So if anybody had it in their thought now to say, hey, we want to add something, this would be the time.
It's been coordinated to boards, so right, that's like exactly.
Okay.
Now, one thing just to keep in mind here, we are moving into phase one irrigation overhaul. For FY 26, in the current budget, we have $55,000 in there that we're executing right now. So there's gonna be, whatever difference is, 25,000, whatever. If HIDA decides to move forward with phase two, during this year, the CDD already has enough money to do the CDD piece for phase two.
Yeah, too much smaller.
It is. So I've already got that figured in there, all right? But that's gonna be really a function of if HIDA wants to do it, phase two during this fiscal year, okay? If not, we've got this money here as a buffer in case it rolls into the next fiscal year. We're already gonna have money budgeted for it, right? Okay? So either way, we got it covered.
Yesterday, I'll get it all done, Saturday.
Yeah, the quicker the better, really.
Yeah. And then worth to note, year to date, you are, as of February's financials, operating 179,000 under budget for your general fund and 110 for your reserves. Take into account, you have the 40,000 and some change that have not hit in the general fund for pressure washing and some irrigation repairs, and you also have the sidewalk repairs that is going to hit against the reserves to max out those lines. So true cost, you're probably operating a total between both, I'd say 100 under budget.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the pressure line, only because this is not the first time a load of bad reviews. For the
Yeah.
pressure line.
Yeah, they did.
Everybody seems to be happy with it this
Yeah,
year.
they did a really good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were a small company.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
phenomenal
I
reviews.
just think they had.
They got my-
But we're not really like.
Again,
Thank you
here
to Giovanni.
is an example of good teamwork with our other board.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany and her staff sending out updates all the time where we were with the pressure washing, which was really good. Our community knows where they were, okay?
No, that's a great point. The vendor was sending progress maps and the HIDA Leland team was sending them out weekly. Yeah, I think that was a huge difference maker from the first time around.
Well, like I said, I think the Lord makes a difference.
Yeah,
You get along together, you do things together. And
no.
that's what the best of the year to be anyhow.
Right.
So that is the current budget. I'd be open to any general comments. You will be seeing an assessment increase depending on the lots, ranging anywhere from 5.52%, depending on lot, to 9.7% of year over year. Just where we're at.
And so the average fees are anywhere from $700 to $1,100 per house. Not much of an increase.
Correct, you're looking at, a dollar amount, it's gonna be 101 for the, increase for the year, 95, 90, 81. So, for the year, not per month.
Approximately $10 a month.
That's-
a month.
If that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we can hold up to that, it's great. Anybody else in comments? All right, now supervisor requests and comments.
Real quick, we just have to adopt the resolution to set the public hearing. I currently have the proposed date, if everybody's okay with it, July's meeting, July 21st, 2026. Does that work for everybody?
Well, I'm hoping it's yesterday.
Yeah.
Will Zoom be available?
Yes, yes, it will. What?
Maybe.
It's interesting, you said it was gonna be in July.
Yes.
We usually don't have a meeting in July, it's usually August. So I'm
Every
not
year.
quite sure how our next meeting is going to be May, and then you usually skip till August, which is 3 months.
I think you guys, I moved around, possibly. I'm managing 11 districts now, so
August is normal.
August is normal.
August is the normal.
I'm a little crowded in August right now, unfortunately. So if the board can accommodate moving our August meeting forward a month, if not, I will work.
Well,
Only if you-
let's see how it's changed. Yes.
Well, there are people like Joe, I think, is not in.
Joe's gonna call in those 3 months from now, which month it is, right?
The first year I came in August.
Yeah, she was.
Sorry,
Here.
I've got a diversity CDD meeting that day.
On the 21st.
At 11 a.m.
It's all right, just, we've been trained and we don't retrain well at all.
No, that's
If they're
stuck.
How many years you been?
What?
How many years you been?
Too many.
You don't train well?
I haven't been here for when you have the public. How many show up? Really?
Yes.
Only the.
Yeah, I currently have 5 adopted budgets in August. I can make it happen, but it would help me out a lot if you guys did July 21st. The only thing is you have to set a date for your public hearing notice right now. Yeah.
I say we make it work.
Are we not having a meeting in August? It's
So
not-
if you had your July meeting, you would have your next meetings in May, then you skip June, you go July, and then you would skip August, come back in October.
Anybody else?
I'm zooming, so I'm here.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
July 21st is okay? I appreciate it,
And
seriously,
next
thank
year
you.
you'll mark it as August.
Next year you will be on my August calendar, yes.
See one of the 5.
So with that, Kyle, anything to touch on resolution 2026-02 for the board's review? Give him a minute.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find my my unmute button here. No, I mean this is just adopting the proposed budget that was that we've been discussing. Again, this isn't your final budget. This sets the high water mark for your budget, though, so it can come down when we have our public hearing, but it can't go above this. So it is just accepting the proposed budget, authorizing Brian and his team to publish the notice for the public hearing, and then, obviously we'll be approving the final budget at that public hearing, which legally needs to occur at least 60 days, from this adoption of the proposed budget. So the July meeting will work, but that's what this resolution is.
Very good.
And,
Now take a motion to,
supervisor requests and comments.
Yeah. real quick, guys.
For the July 23rd.
So we're actually, motion from David adopting resolution 2026-02, setting the public hearing for July 21st, 2026 with the budget as stated on the record.
I second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
We'll start with David's supervisor comments.
Did want to thank you. I'm getting email on this meeting that from a resident who said new boards that have put on the bridges are nice, but they need to be shaved down because they're a trip hazard and are liquidating bicycle tires.
Bike shouldn't be on the bridges.
So you're right. So I don't know, what specific bridges are they referring to?
So David, I will tell you, in the bridge scope work that we provided, that part of the work, it is required that the bridge approach matches into the existing sidewalk approach, so that you don't have that, elevation change or that bump, if you will, it's come on the bridge.
We had talked previously about adding bollards to the bridge approaches.
That's coming.
That's underway, right?
They're looking at.
That will be done.
It will be done.
What, to keep the golf carts off?
Well, it does the golf carts, it doesn't stop the bikes.
That's the bike from fine, we'll put up a sign, develop a welcome, but, it's set off course, very good. There's no question about it. I followed him about a month ago. He actually gave me grief when the wood was sticking on something fire. Like, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Any?
After the freeze a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to go and take a look at all the parks and everything myself, and I did. But I put that little sign, the CDD supervisor sign on my cart. And of course, I'm on the sidewalks. But I'm doing this, I'm not walking the property. So I'm going and I'm on the cart. If people came out and asked me questions about, what we're gonna do, they're interested in knowing. So, I think that you get what you inspect, not what you expect. That's a good one to go by, right? So we're gonna fix this problem. We're gonna get rid of these dead plants and we'll go from there.
My only comment was I really appreciate the job that Ken's doing. I was impressed by the reports and the information he provided, and once again, I thank you for your efforts.
Joe?
I want to mimic what he said, and thank goodness that Ken plans on remaining in his seat and running again for his seat. I don't think anybody could do the job like he does, but I do have a couple of issues. I've had a few residents mention to me that after the rain, we still have some sidewalks that are really low, that they don't dry out really quickly. I know for myself, there's one on Anza behind the homes that always, I remember walking my dog, you have to get off the sidewalk and walk on the grass. And so I think that needs to be something that we look at more and maybe even encourage residents to tell us about areas that they know about, so we can have them addressed. The other one is I had a homeowner mention that there's a long distance on Legacy between Bell, Bowen, and Quinn that has no bench. And I guess they used to walk and they can't walk that far anymore, and they noticed. So I'd like us to take a look and see if we have any large areas that are empty of a bench where we have supplied some, and see if we have a distance that might still use one and be beneficial. And the last one's a big one. It's something I want to bring up for next year when we do the budget. I had Brian look into if we took our operational and maintenance and divided it equally amongst the 1,606 homes, what it would be. And we all know that the paying off the bonds is separate and different. But according to this proposed budget, the highest amount paid by a home is 895. The lowest amount is 748. And you have to sit there and figure how many 60 foots, how many 70 foots, how many 50 foots, how many in a condo. You don't have to do any of that. If you divided it by 1,606, the answer was.
It's 14.
Yeah, the condos pay for CDD.
Yeah, they do.
1607.
1607.
Yeah, that's the clubhouse. Keep forgetting something. It came to what? It came to $800. Wasn't it?
800 and some change, not including the current increases that we just proposed. So ideally, what Joe's proposing is some of the homes or some of the lot sizes that pay a little bit more on their annual CDD fees those would come down a little bit and some of the people that pay a little bit less would come up. So now you'd have a level cost, throughout the board.
It would make your job a lot easier because it would be one set amount. And most of the time the research I've done, the assessment is based on the services that you receive. In fact, that's exactly what the law says, the services you receive. And some CDs are set up where all they do is water management. So it makes perfect sense to look at lot size and determine your cost by that. But our CD works on all the sidewalks, the front fountains, the parks. We all use them equally. And the fact that it's such a small difference to make them all equal and make our job a lot easier. And there are homes they call 50-foot lot, but the backside's 90. I mean, none of it makes sense to me, and I'd like to see it make sense for everybody, that we pay equally for the beautification of our community. So I want to have that in mind for next year when we do our budget. Thank you.
I think
I just have to.
So your assessment schedule is made up of two costs. You have your debt service and your operation and maintenance expenditures. She's just referring to the operation and maintenance expenditure. Yeah.
of my taxes, I pay
Yeah, the operation and maintenance.
I understand this. Oh, that's just not, I don't think any of this anybody does. Got the pleasure, I did much longer than the two new people that are. And, it's just gotten better and better with age. I think this is very important. I appreciate having someone come today who worked with us and I'll be on the phone. Brian, as usual, you do a great job, and I appreciate all the people who fill out their meetings. Tell your neighbors, they're all welcome, please. We'd like more and more people here. Take a motion to adjourn.
Motion from Bob?
Hold on.
Wait, we don't have that at the end of the meeting, Mike. You got to come here on time.
Oh, ask for public comment.
When we get emails to that effect.
Come on.
I'll take care of this. Thank you.
What we do? Mike? Need your name and address.
Mike Hoagland, 6858 Toland Drive, Unit 402. And so nice to hear you, Joe, say you'd like to even out the CDD payments. I assure you that you would have 120 pissed off condo owners with a 400% increase. So I want to thank you because we pay 200 ballpark.
Right. You're part of the
Terraces.
Let's see what you pay right now.
748 was on the budget.
Terraces south. Maybe you're considered a villa, so you would.
No.
Condo.
Oh, condo, okay. Prior year was $849.92
For the year?
for the year, yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I still thank you for coming.
Guarantee it just goes like that.
And did we email that we had a meeting at?
So we had some technical difficulties yesterday, but we did get communication out. So you would have received some communication yesterday.
In emails.
Yeah, in emails.
But the signs are up on the,
Yeah, when I leave, I see you.
Okay.
I always leave. It's such a wonderful community, I don't have to leave.
There you go.
Anybody else? Yeah. The four problems. Let me go first and then you try, okay? Jared, Burger Cat, 3373 Cannonball Circle. On the four foxtail pumps out front that are, may not make it, maybe have some fertilizer or some kind of, things put down in it so that they find survive. Because they're
Fertilizer?
pretty expensive fertilizer or some kind of, powder that they put down. For it.
Oh, granular for, yeah.
Yeah, granular.
I talked to Bill.
Instead of taking.
Or run the circle.
Yeah, to give them some help. And when you put the flags down for the utility companies, for them to put the conduit down, have the landscaper
when you do the mowing of the lawn, stop and pick back up the flags. It's important that we don't break any utilities under there, especially the gas. utility. Okay. Thank you, Jerry.
Come on up.
Once again, Robert Allen, 6741 Ringgold. I'm new to the community. This is my first meeting. I'm assuming you find 5 people are the board.
Yes.
Do a heck of a job from what I can see here. And you represent the facility,
The engineer.
Engineering.
engineering. Okay, I'm just trying to get it.
That's cool. And Brian's our manager.
I see him all over the back page here. And he seems to be very in tune to what's going on too. I'll be brief. First off, heck of a good job on the sidewalks. Cleaning. When I moved into my home, it was beyond bad. But they did a heck of a job. They really did. I have a couple of quick questions. Does each house have an irrigation system? And whereabouts, is there a panel that turns it on?
No, you're on a community run irrigation system.
Okay.
Your property is tied into the whole system. You have no controls over it.
That sounds beautiful. I looked all over it. That it's done. And cutting down the dead stuff around my home that died, am I allowed to cut any of that down? And dispose of it myself?
Yeah. You can.
Like, okay, sure. I'm sorry.
How long has been doing it all over?
Yeah, I just didn't want to break rules and, be up here and get whipped or something.
Yeah.
Apply when you plant.
Why would?
Apply ACC when you plant something.
Okay, all right, yeah, I understand. If you want to add anything, artwork, plants, whatever, you need a permission. So good on that, thank you. I saw something in my phone, Heritage is very good about sending notice that you get 5 a day, it seems. Something about painting. And they had a whole list of different numbers, I assume, are different houses.
Yeah.
What exactly are they painting?
Gotta come to tomorrow's meeting for that.
Tomorrow's meeting, unfortunately, I did doctor, so I'm gonna use that. So they are painting something.
Homes are painted every 8 years.
Oh.
So there's a schedule
Oh.
that is done, and this tomorrow is the height of the work meeting. And they handle the clubhouse, they have the painting of the homes, on the home or lots, landscaping, certain irrigation responsibilities. There are more meetings tomorrow. It's good to attend to.
Yeah, I have a doctor, well, read that thing at 2:15, so I'll try to maybe make a few minutes of it, but I won't be here for the whole time.
So the front glass, you go to that time of your house to paint it.
Okay.
And when it will be painted again, and then you get the option to change the color.
That's the next question.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So mine shall read.
so the front desk, they can help you with that.
And the last thing is, I assumed when I moved in, I saw a hole like that in the ground underneath one of the bushes next to the driveway. And I assumed at first it must be a broken sprinkler, but I've never seen water come out of it. And I see every time I come in every day, the bark is moved. I must have a critter living in there.
Yeah.
Now, I've never put my hand in there to check.
Possible about that.
Is that what it is? Possible?
Could be, but yeah.
Could very well be. Don't
I have one that surprises me at night occasionally when I take the dog out to.
Yeah, I do I deal with that myself? I guess in the shotgun in there and kill it. Well, how did
Maybe a
you?
BB gun.
Baby good. Well,
Maybe some feathers and flying out.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's in there, to be honest. Armadillo.
That could be too, yeah.
And what we did in our house, we started level, I got some commercial time. And just boarded it the hole, filled it up to ground level. And if they're going to go dig their way out, or not, it will go back.
Yeah, I'm not into killing anything, I'm being facetious, but I don't know what it is, it's for up in California. You guys have critters here, but we don't have there.
Don't stick your hand in that.
No.
Don't do that.
You got different fingers, you know.
We have critters, but they're in the government policy. Anyway, that's why I live here. All right, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You all do it from what I can see.
Enjoy your day. It's a great place.
And I love it so far, and I don't have my neighbors come. I don't understand why this is not half full. I believe it doesn't make any sense.
We like to think it's because we do such a great
Well,
job.
That's it right there.
that Nobody has.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, David.
And a second by Kenny, and I.
Uh,
We are done.
All right, everybody on the call, thank you. We will see you next time.